I've been using the Redmi K30 for a week now. What are my thoughts? There's a lot to like about this phone. So obviously being called the Redmi K30, you immediately think this is a replacement or an upgrade to the Redmi K20, but actually that's not really the case. The Redmi K30 5G yet to be actually released onto the market using the Snapdragon 765G. That is the replacement to the Redmi K20. This phone, the Redmi K30 4G with the Snapdragon 730G, is more of a upgrade or bump up, more modern version of the Redmi Note 8 Pro. It sits in between the Redmi Note 8 Pro and the Redmi K20 in my opinion, and the price that it comes at also verifies that. The design is so different to the Redmi K20, but it is very similar to the Note 8 Pro. Yes, you do get an LCD screen that makes it a little bit bigger, a little bit thicker, but you get 120 Hz refresh rates, and that is a big improvement over the Note 8 Pro. You get this new cutout design at the top, which I don't think is better or worse than a water drop notch. It's just different. Interestingly, you can change the cutout design and take it away completely, but it does leave a huge black border at the top of the screen. If you do slow down the footage, you can actually see that there are two separate cutouts for the front-facing camera and the time of flight sensor. This has actually been changed further in an update. It was a lot more noticeable before Redmi updated the software. So it looks like Redmi are not going to offer the option to just keep two cutouts and not have the middle portion in between blacked out. The cutout just becomes part of the notification bar, and that's one of the reasons why the screen is bigger and taller with the 20:9 aspect ratio. The advantage over having a pop-up is that Face ID works, and that's what I use. Even though I really like the side-mounted fingerprint sensor, and it's really quick, I use face unlocking because it's quicker, faster, and just easier to use. You get a much bigger battery on the K30 than the previous versions, but you get the LCD display and the high refresh rate, so battery life has been more or less the same for me. Of course, the LCD screen is going to turn a lot of people off that were looking at the K20 Pro, but as I said, this really isn't a replacement for those phones, and the real flagship killers are going to be coming next year from Redmi. The camera is surprisingly good. Again, if you look at the K20, you would say that they've actually taken away some of the hardware from those phones. Gone is the 2x zoom camera, and added is a time of flight sensor and a macro lens, which I guess none of us are really going to use that often. Having tested the camera against so many phones, including the much more expensive Xiaomi Mi Note 10, I was really surprised how well this phone kept up with that phone. Pictures from the brand new Sony IMX686 are really good, and I'm really surprised just how quality that image sensor is. Even with the Snapdragon 730G, which is not a flagship processor, the photos came out really good, and I think it is an upgrade over the K20 phones. The ultra wide is very solid too, and to be honest, the 2x zoom camera, I really didn't miss it. You can zoom in 2x using the camera app anyway, and I didn't notice any loss in details. The new Sony sensor does have more megapixels, and it shoots crisper shots as standard, so zooming in 2x is really not much different to having a dedicated 2x anyway. Not only on the back camera, but the front camera also has a depth sensor too, so portrait shots on both the front and back came out really well. If you're looking between the Note 8 Pro and the K30, I would say that video and photos on the K30 are definitely an improvement on that phone. When I tested this phone against the Redmi Note 8 Pro with that MediaTek chipset inside, I was actually surprised that the MediaTek chipset really blew the socks off of the Snapdragon in most of the tests. However, when you actually just get down to playing some games, the experience on both phones is virtually exactly the same. The thing I was looking forward to most was the 120 Hz display when playing PUBG. But because this phone has a Snapdragon 730G, you can't play PUBG on the highest refresh rate settings. No matter what I did, I always got around about 40, maybe 45 frames per second in PUBG. So that means it's just not taking advantage of the 120 Hz display. The phone does feel a little bit smoother, but I think it's just hampered by the fact it doesn't have a flagship processor in there. A small difference as well, but between the K30 and the Redmi Note 8 Pro, I would say the haptics are a little bit better in the K30 over that phone. Overall, the Redmi K30 4G version is a really good addition to the Redmi lineup if you're looking for a phone that is similar to the Note 8 Pro but with a Snapdragon chipset. You also get a brand new, really high quality Sony image sensor in there. If you're looking at all the benefits of the K20 and K20 Pro with the design and the OLED display, then this phone isn't really the replacement for those. So I'm looking forward to the Redmi K30 5G with all the performance improvements that are going to come with that brand new Snapdragon chipset. And then I'm looking for the real flagship killer from Redmi coming out after that with the Snapdragon 865. Subscribe for all the latest tech news and everything to do with Redmi. That's it for now, but I'll see you in the next one.